Year 2, it's Mrs. Bartlett here again. Today we're going to make some Christmas cards. I'm going to show you a couple of different designs. Now, you can see the outside of my card. You've got some snowflakes, which I'm sure you know how to make. There's some baubles and I've got some sparkly tape. Those are quite easy, but it's not the outside that I'm really interested in today. You can do the outside of your cards like mine. You can choose to do them a different way. Let's look at what's inside the cards. I'll move it a bit nearer. So this has got snowflakes on the inside, on the outside. On the inside, it has this lovely polar bear with his Christmas present. And can you see his nose is a pop-up nose. So that's our first design. It's the easier one because there's only one pop-up part. If you find that you're really good at doing pop-up noses and you'd like a bit more of a challenge, there's this one with the baubles on the outside. What do you think might be inside? Let me show you. It's a pop-up tree. And it works the same way as the polar bear's nose, but there's lots of different layers. So that one's a little bit more complicated, but not too tricky. So if you want to make those, follow along and join in. So, snowflake card first. To make the pop-up polar bear, you will need a piece of card. Blue or a dark colour is nice, but any colour will do. A piece of white paper, some glue, some scissors, a pencil, and either some colouring pencils or felt pens, black and another colour for the eyes. You can choose, or you can do it all with black. You also need a little bit of wrapping paper. To begin, you need to fold the card and the paper in half. So match the corners carefully. This is quite thick card, so it's tricky, but if you hold them with your fingers and then press back with your thumbs, then run your finger along to get a neat fold. Do the same with the paper. Okay, there we have it. Now we're going to draw the shape of the polar bear's head on the white paper. Start off by doing a half circle that's quite big but doesn't fill the whole page because you need room for the present underneath his head. So that's about the right size. A bit of a gap there, a bit of a gap there. Then do another round shape for his ear. I've made with these with children in school before, and everybody's polar bear came out a little bit different, and that's what makes it so nice. Right, now you need to cut round and round the ear. Don't cut that line. Don't worry about your pencil lines because they won't show when the card's finished because this is the back of the polar bear. Cut round. And if you open it out to check, you've got a nice bear head. Right, the next thing to do is we're going to cut 3 little triangles. I'm going to draw them on so you can see, but you don't need to draw them on. You can just snip them with your scissors. 3 little triangles, because that gives the shaggy bit at the side of his face. Open it out and have a sneaky peek again. There you are, that's looking good. Close it up. Now we're going to draw a line where we're going to cut the nose. The nose is a triangle shape, but it's only cut in one part, so we have to get this bit right. So I'm going to go about halfway up and do a line that's about maybe 1.5 or 2 centimetres across. And then you take your scissors and you just snip that line, not too far. When you've done that, we're going to do the folding part. Take this corner and make a triangle with it. Okay, so yours should look like that. Then take it and carefully fold it back on itself. So you're following the same fold line, and maybe do that a few times because this is what makes your pop up. Press it really hard. A good crease there. I'm just going to go over those creases too because it's important to keep them right. Right, now's the magic bit. You open it up and you need to push with your finger just the nose triangle you want to fold that way. Can you see? You might need to turn the video off just to get that to work. It's a little bit fiddly, but if you can do that, then you can make the Christmas tree too. So have a go at that. Now we're ready to do his features. I'm going to colour the whole of this triangle in black. So it's probably best if you mark the edges first so you know where you're going to. You don't want to go over the cut line, and you don't want to go over the fold lines at the side. I'm sure you can colour yours a lot more neatly than this. I couldn't find a black felt pen in my house today, so I had to use colouring pencils. But black felt pens or colouring pencils are fine, either will do. And then we want to give them a nice smile, so we do a line going down, and then a big smile that way, the other half going that way. And then I'm going to use green, I think, to do his eyes. So I'll do one there, try and go the same distance at the other side. And that's his face made. Remember, keep the triangle popping out forwards, and the rest of it has to pop out, has to fold backwards, so it's quite tricky. That bit's going that way, that bit's going that way. Your finger pushing through helps. And when you fold it, it should look like that with its nose missing because that's folded up there, and that really helps you when you come to glue it on, which is our next step. So open up your backing card. If you hold that there, half of it's going to glue on that side, and then the fold is going to line up with the fold of the card, and then the other half it's going to stick on that side. So I'm just going to start off by putting glue on one half. And when you've done that, line it up along the fold line in the card. So that bit and that bit are running along that line that you made when you folded the card. Then press it down. If you unfold it, just check there aren't any wrinkles. We've got one half folded on. Now, with that nose still tucked away inside, you fold the other half, not fold glue. Once you've done that, just press it down flat. Oops, a wrinkle there. And, oops, see, I stuck it quite enough up there. Don't want an extra pop-up that's on his forehead. It should open and shut with its pop-up nose. And then just to finish it off, you need a quick wrapping paper square. That'll do for his present. I'll stick that on. If you don't have any wrapping paper to use, you can just make a rectangle of paper and do some patterns on it. It doesn't really need to be wrapping paper. And then the next step is to make his paws to hold the present. So if you go back to the white paper you used in the first place, keep it folded so you cut both paws together, then they'll be the same. Draw a nice big oval shape. And cut round. There we are. I'm going to put one on one side, one on the other. Actually, I think those paws are a bit small. I'm going to cut two more, make them a little bit bigger. Let's see what these ones look like. Oh, they're better. Need to find my glue again. Glue that on that side. That on that side. Add some claws. Oops. And there is our pop-up polar bear, all ready to give someone a Christmas present. Decorate the front in any way you like. You could get out the glitter and the paint. You could do some paint white spots of snowflakes around with your finger. Decorate it however you like. Don't forget to put a message on the back for whoever it is for. Now for the pop-up Christmas tree card. We start off in the same way. You need a sheet of backing card and a sheet of paper. Green paper is quite nice. I don't have any, so I'm using white, and that's fine. You also need a pencil, some glue, and that's probably it for this one. Oh, and scissors, of course. Right, let's get going. First of all, fold your card. So again, match up the edges very carefully. Push down with your thumbs. When you've got the crease, then use your finger to press really tightly. Turn it over and do it the other way too, so it makes a very neat crease. When you open it, you can see it's a neat line. Do the same with your paper. Use your finger to make it a sharp crease. That's really important in a pop-up card. Now I'm going to draw the Christmas tree shape. The paper's folded in half, and I'm keeping the fold on that side because I'm only going to draw half the Christmas tree like we drew half the polar bear. So start a couple of centimetres down because you might want to put a star on the top of your tree. Do a straight line down, then curve round the bottom. We're going to do that 4 times. Straight line down, curve round the bottom. Straight line down, curve round the bottom, and one more. Straight line down, curve round the bottom. Each time you take a step in before you do your line down, because that's how we get our different layers. So have a good look at that, stop the video and have a try. Now you should have your tree shape drawn. The next bit is to do the cutting. We do not cut these lines. The only cutting is the bit around the bottom of each layer. If you cut those bits, you won't have a pop-up card. Okay, so I'm going to cut very carefully round that curve right to the line. And then I'm going to cut the next one round the curve right up to where that line comes down. And the same with this one, up to the line but no further, and with this one. So you should have all the layers of the Christmas tree cut. Have a go at that. Next step is the folding. Now the folds have to run along these lines, and we fold each section separately. To make it easier, I find it better if I turn it this way up, and then I'm folding and I'm looking for the line that I drew. So I look for that line. When I see it, I press it firmly along the line, so it folds back like that. Let's do the next one. Look for the line. It doesn't start as far back as that one. It starts there. So the first one's sticking out that way. This one doesn't meet up with it. Along the line like that. Okay, next one. Look for the line. And next one. Look for the line and fold it. So you should have something that looks like a Christmas tree falling over a little bit. So press those again to make sure that they have creased really firmly. Now, like the polar bear, we're going to carefully fold those back the other way. So take the bit that you've folded and then just gently fold it back on itself and press it that way too, because that will help the pop-up to work. Take that piece back and press it. Take this bit back and press it, and take this bit back and press it. Now we're ready to do what we did with the polar bear's nose, but it is quite tricky with this. I'm going to open it up, use my finger to push out the first bit, just like the polar bear's nose, see? If you could do the polar bear's nose, you can do this. And the second bit, and the third bit, and the last bit. So the sides should be folding, we call those valley folds, and the top of each pop-up is a mountain fold. If you go along with your fingers, you can pop it out and crease it back on the creases you've already made. And you should have something that looks like that. You might need to turn the video off and fiddle around with it for a bit. So now for the gluing, it's just like the polar bear. Glue one side, then the other side. Your Christmas tree should all be folded up inside so it doesn't get glue on it. We only want glue on this big bit. I'm running out of glue after this crafty week. Right, so one side is glued. Remember, we line it up. That little bit of the crease lines up with that, and that lines up with that. And it should all line up around the edge for this one. Mine doesn't quite, so I'm just going to pull it a bit. And if you've got some wrinkles, if you gently rub your fingers over them, it gets rid of them and it looks better without wrinkles. Doesn't matter if there's the odd one though. And then we need to stick the other half on. So again, get your glue stick, glue particularly around the edges of the tree so that it doesn't all come popping up. That should match up with the underneath card. I haven't got quite enough glue on there, you can see that popping up, but I have been rushing a little bit. This is tricky. You might need to have an adult to help you do this one. It's not an easy children's thing. The polar bear was a little bit easier. This is harder and I've ended up with crinkles that I don't want. Oh well, never mind. So you can decorate that. You could put a star on the top. Don't forget to write something like Happy Christmas. I wrote Happy Christmas in mine. Write whatever you like, and you can send it to whoever you like. You can write to Mum, to Dad, to anyone in your family or friends. And then don't forget to do a nice design on the outside. You might want to do some baubles. You might want to do something completely different. You might have glitter and paint and all sorts of things to use. Be creative, and let's see how many people can make a pop-up Christmas card this Christmas.